Good morning, friends. Happy Thursday. Kay, good morning. How are you, my friend? Is everybody ready for this Thursday? One step closer to the weekend, Friday Eve. Cindy, good morning. Gen X Purple Heart in the house. Deborah, good morning. Look at this skein of yarn. Now, this is what I call grande. Grande. Jody, good morning. Oh, yes, the infamous Caron anniversary cakes. You guys know I have struggled with bulky weight yarns. It has been a personal challenge. I say a lot, I don't like bulky weight yarns. Cindy, good morning. MJ, good morning. Desert Life, good morning. Jennifer G in the house. Pam is here. Kelly said, I bought that one. Good morning, Miss Kelly. Um, it has been a personal struggle of mine. And I feel like the reason why is because I haven't found the stitch that just sings to me. You know, the one where you just do it and you look at it and you're like, aha, this is it. I like how this is working out. But I was watching a video the other day on YouTube, and forgive me, I can't remember the creator's name. And she was working a modified single crochet. And last night I was thinking, what if I take that single crochet, but instead of a single crochet, make it into a modified half double crochet? And so I was playing around with it last night, and this is what I came up with. That's the back here. It's still connected to my yarn. I kind of like it, y'all. I'm kind of feeling this stitch. So I want to try it with this yarn. Now, this is a different bulky weight yarn that I did my sample on. But basically, this is a modified half double crochet. I did this yarn. I have the Oceana, and I posted a video of it. And I was doing a stitch where it was worked in the round, and I felt like it was way too complicated for the yarn. This particular yarn, the Caron Anniversary Cakes, have very short stints of color. And when I was working in the round, it felt like it really muddied the project, if you know what I mean. So it just didn't have a good feel to it. So based on that little experiment, I'm going to frog that whole project, by the way. But it got me thinking, I really feel like this yarn, these Caron Anniversary Cakes, need to be worked in long strips kind of back and forth. So maybe that could be like a chevron. There's a guy on here called Vic. I don't know if y'all know Vic. He makes these really cool cardigans out of this yarn. He's up in Canada, and I love how his cardigans work out. But he's working a half double crochet in the back loop, so kind of the same concept. I really feel like it lends it very nicely. Now, our friend JT, he's also working with Caron Anniversary Cakes, and JT, if you're here, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's doing single crochets. So again, single crochets and a long line. Now he's doing a really fancy pattern where it has like this almost like spiraling effect. It's really cool looking. I don't know if he's posted any videos, but again, the point being, it's worked in long strips in that single crochet. And so that is kind of what has been rolling around in my brain. Then, because this stitch has these really cool, like hatches going on, angled stitches, those are just happening because of how I'm doing the modified half double. I thought it might look kind of cool if I was to do, when I get all finished, a crab stitch border on it. So that's what you see here is me experimenting with what kind of a border that could be. So that's what I'm thinking this morning. Now, I don't want to do all crazy and do something huge, but what I'm thinking is I'll do a um wheelchair size, so that's 35 by 45. And if you think about a rectangle blanket, right? I think I want my chain to go the long way. So the 45-inch, that way it works long, kind of like that. So that's what I'm thinking this morning with this anniversary cake. Now, this is the colorway Oyster. I know a lot of people have been trying to find these in stores. I did buy mine online and had them shipped in. The reason why our Michaels is over an hour away. And a lot of times you can't find them. So that would be kind of a frivolous trip to drive an hour and 15 minutes and then still not be able to find any. So I did get a few different colorways and brought them in. But this morning, this is the colorway Oyster. So I'm thinking, let's give this a whirl. Let's see if I can get myself out of this slump where I don't like bulky yarns. We're gonna push the boundaries here this morning. Now, this yarn is a 6 weight, super bulky, and it calls for an 8 millimeter L11 hook. Now, I know from doing my other project, I used an 8 millimeter, and I felt like the stitches were still a little tight. So I do have both of my hooks here this morning. I have my 8 millimeter, which is the pink guy here on the right. And then I have a 9 millimeter, which is my blue hook. So you can see it's a quite a bit bigger. So what I'm noodling on is let's try with the 9 millimeter and see if we can make these stitches not quite so tight. However, if we don't like the look of it, we can always drop back down to the 8 millimeter and see how that looks. So I'm going to start with a starting chain and I'm going to make that 45 inches. This yarn is machine washable and dryable for those that are interested. 100% acrylic, and you get it from Michaels. It is hard to find, friends. It's a hard yarn to find, and it's big skeins, big old ball of yarn. Okay, so I know I missed a lot of you hopping on this morning, but welcome in. We're going to make a blanket this morning. I was kind of given some ideas of what's rolling around in my brain this morning. We are live this morning, both on TikTok and YouTube. Welcome in, everybody. I hope everybody is having a fabulous Thursday. It is Thursday, right? Is it Friday Eve? Is it Friday Eve? Goodness gracious. Can the weekend just get here already? It's rainy day schedule here. There's a lot of mud outside, but you know what? Mr. Diesel is outside this morning and he's probably going to get himself all muddy and gross. But Mama needed a day of quiet and relaxation this morning. So, anyhow, hopefully he'll not make too big of a mess. So, Kayla, it's going to be a modified half double. And I don't know if this stitch exists out there in the wild, if it's actually a real stitch. But this was my little noodling invention last night as I was chatting with some of my friends and coming up with a new crochet stitch for me. I like to call it the Wheeler woven stitch. It almost looks like weaving, like knitting almost to me. So I call it the Wheeler woven stitch. But again, I don't know if this is actually a real stitch that has been invented before. If it is, somebody let me know after we start doing it if you've ever seen this before. Okay, but that's what we're going to do. So I need to chain 45 inches. I'm not going to count these. When I do this, it's all going to be essentially a half double crochet. So it doesn't matter if it's even or odd. None of that really comes into play. Yeah, Wheeler woven stitch. Do you like that, JT? Wheeler woven stitch? If y'all have something else you want to call it, let me know. But I kind of liked the Wheeler woven stitch. WWS. And we'll see how this works up and see what y'all think. Kayla said, okay, I'll be here for a bit online. You have an online appointment. No problem, Kayla. I am live on YouTube this morning, friends. So you'll be able to go back and rewatch this if you've got to hop off and go to work, get the kiddos to school, all the things. Totally understand. Shan, good morning. Welcome in. Friends, if I missed you hopping on this morning, I hope you're all having a great day. And I'm glad that you all are here. So let's get our tape measure and see if we can measure where I'm at right now. Again, I'm not counting these. We're just going to kind of measure. It's just got to be close, but I'm thinking 45 because I want to do 35 by 45 size blanket. Becky, the hook I'm using this morning is a 9 millimeter, a grande hook. So I'm at 22 inches. That would be 44. So we need about 3 more inches ish. And then I'm going to work a single crochet into the back bump all the way along before we get into these half double modified stitches. Let's see where we're at now. But this morning I'm using a Caron anniversary cake. Sherilyn, welcome in. Happy Thursday. 23. Okay, let's take a couple out and we should be good. Let's take a couple out. All right, here we go. So we're just kind of eyeballing it this morning. Doesn't have to be exact. What weight is the anniversary cake? Well, the whole weight of the ball, Miss Vicky. Whew, it's heavy, but it's a 6 bulky weight, guys. It's a 6 super bulky. Look at that. 1,000 grams, 1,029 yards. Yeah, they say it's difficult to get. I ordered this online. So I ordered it on the Michaels app. I finally was able to get it. I would log in first thing when I woke up in the morning, even before I got my coffee. And I would get my app out, the Michaels app, and see if they had any in stock. And that's how I was finally able to get it. So I hope this works up really quick. It might be kind of a cool looking pattern. I do have a few other colors, but we're really challenging myself this morning just because I typically don't like to work with bulky weight. So I'm trying hard to challenge and do something new. And maybe I can come up with a way that I fall in love with bulky weights. So far, that has not been the case. Now, I do like a 5 bulky for my beanies and scarves. But as far as a blanket, eh, I just haven't felt it. But we're gonna see. This stitch is pretty cool. This is what we're gonna make. This stitch right here. So that's what we're gonna do. Right now I'm working on the foundation row here. So we can get this party started and I can show you all how to make this stitch. Um the gal that I was watching, she was doing this stitch but as a single crochet. And instinctively in my mind, if somebody says you're going to do a whole blanket in single crochet, y'all know what my reaction is to that, right? Oh, gosh. I don't know if I want to do a whole blanket in single crochet, even if it's a modified single crochet. So that's why I started thinking, what if I took that concept that she was using and actually did a half double modified? So that's kind of what was rolling around in my brain when I was thinking about it. Jackson, Gemma, good morning. Welcome up. Wheelchair blanket in the Wheeler woven stitch. And this is the colorway Oyster I'm using this morning, friends. Oyster. I got Oceana. I got the fruity pebbles looking one. Do you know which one that one is? Cindy said, I have to say I don't like bulky yarns either. The only one I enjoy working with is Premier Puzzle. Oh, I like the Premier Puzzle, Cindy. I like that for hats. I've used the anniversary cakes, and even though they are beautiful, I really don't enjoy it. Well, I'm gonna really try hard here this morning, and we'll see. We'll see how it works up. I will tell you, when I was playing around last night with this stitch, I was kind of digging it. I was kind of excited about it. Ileana, good morning. Welcome in. Kayla said that color is sold out right now, but 3 others available. Michael's having 25% off. Okay, what colors are available right now? Are the colors more neutral or blues or oranges or yellow? This is very neutral colors. It has like kind of a peachy color, kind of a beige and a gray. You can kind of see them here. The colors. This is Oyster. I think it's pretty. I kind of like it. So yeah, if anybody now, as I make this stitch, again, I'm calling it the Wheeler woven stitch because I don't know what this stitch is called or if it even exists. All right. So if y'all are watching me this morning and you go, oh, I know what that stitch is, you got to be sure and tell me. Okay. Right now, I'm just doing single crochets in the back bump only. But on the next row, I'm going to turn and we're going to start doing the woven stitch. So the colors right now are beach towel, green flash, and tropical breeze. I think I have the tropical breeze. Hey Lou, welcome in. Good morning. How are things in Oklahoma? Oklahoma. Don't make me sing, Lou. Where do the squirrels go on holidays? Beach trees. All right, all right. We got some dad jokes in the house this morning. I like it, Squirrel Winterstorm. I love our little squirrels here. We have a lot. We have a whole little community of squirrels and deer. The baby deer came in yesterday with their mom. So cute. Jules, thank you so much for the finger hearts this morning. Appreciate you, my friend. Vicky, good morning. I don't know if I said Vicky. Welcome in this morning. I know a lot of you all are here, and I miss saying hello when I was kind of giving my thoughts about yarn and such this morning. But I hope y'all are having a terrific Thursday so far. I've got my coffee here. Mr. Diesel's outside. We had rain again last night. Shan, good morning. Um, it's really muddy out there, and I have a feeling when Diesel comes back inside, he's going to make a huge mess everywhere. Fall is here. It is. Is anybody else getting rain where they're at? It has rained the last like 3 days. I think it's overcast out there today too. I'll tell you, it sure makes my RA not too happy. But we do need the rain. The pond is dry, and I know a lot of people out there need rain. Leah said it's rainy and sleepy here. Yeah. Hey, Leah, good morning, by the way. Welcome in. Um, it's rained since Sunday. Jen said rain past 2 days and raining a lot. Yeah, so rainy, right? All of us with our autoimmune pals, it really does a number on me. I'll know that. I know that. Hey, Miss Paloma, welcome in. Jennifer G is here. Good morning. Cindy said it started raining here in Alabama today. I haven't seen it rain where I'm at. I'm in Alabama too, Miss Cindy. I'm up in Rainsville. We're outside Fort Payne. It's definitely overcast, but haven't actually gotten any drops that I can see. Did I just do a half double? Oh, I sure did. See, it's a habit. Thank you so much. What's an Oyster Bay blanket? This colorway is called Oyster. This colorway is called Oyster. Valblocks, thank you so much for catching that, my friend. If anybody else sees me messing up because I'm yakking and not paying attention, y'all thump me on the head. Make sure I'm supposed to be doing a single crochet right now. We're doing our foundation row. Cindy's got a drizzle. Raining in Ohio. Shars, good morning. Welcome in. Yeah, look at that gray. That gray is nice though, huh? I think of so the colorway, the reason why I called it the Oyster Bay blanket is the colorway is oyster. It's a Caron anniversary cake. But when I used to go down to Rocky Point, down Puerto Penasco, uh, down there by Arizona, down in Mexico, we used to go down there, and that was our old stomping grounds when we lived in Arizona. We used to love to go to Rocky Point, and we would go out to the estuaries, and they had big flats of oyster baskets out there, and it was like a bay that would come in. And so during low tide, all the water would run out of the bay. And then at high tide, it would come back in and fill up where all the oysters were at. It's called an estuary. So when I was working with this yarn and it's called Oyster, it immediately made me think of Rocky Point. We used to go out there. You could go out to the estuary and you could get oysters on the half shell. They'd take them out of the crates right there for you. And we had our cervezas, and we'd get oysters on the half shell right there out of the ocean. So great memories. So anyhow, when I was thinking about the oyster color, it immediately brought back that memory for me. And so I called it Oyster Bay. It wasn't called Oyster Bay when we would go, but it was called the estuary. But it was basically a bay of oysters. What makes up the woven stitch? So I'm getting ready to turn my work here. We've got this many more single crochets, and I will show you what I mean by the woven stitch. So I just nicknamed it that. I don't know if this is actually a real stitch. I was playing around with it last night, but when you work it, you're actually linking your stitches together. And so when I was playing around with it last night, this is the sample I made. But it almost to me has like a knitted feel to it. Now, guys, I'm not a knitter, so feel free to chime in if you're like, you're crazy, April. That doesn't look like knitting at all. But it kind of has a cool feel to it, and it kind of feels like woven to me, even though it's crochet. So that's why I nicknamed it that. Hang on, my yarn has hopped off here. I've got a big mess. So we're gonna do that as soon as we turn our work here. We've just got to get these single crochets finished up. So I did a starting chain that was 45 inches long. I'm going to make this wheelchair size, and we're going to make it 35 by 45. Okay. And once I get this single crochet row done, we're working in the back bump. I'm going to turn my work, and then we're going to start working with this modified half double. And you guys are going to see how it works up. And we'll see if y'all are mesmerized by how I do this. But I am using a 9 millimeter hook this morning. This yarn calls for an 8 millimeter. I was playing around with some other yarn, like a week or so ago, and I used the 8 millimeter that it calls for, and I felt like the stitches were a little tight. So I bumped up a size to attempt to make this a little more flowy of a project. So 9 millimeter grande hook, grande yarn. I have seen linked double crochet before. All right, well, Jen, you're going to have to weigh in here. Have you ever seen a linked half double? That's the question of the hour. Okay, so we're all the way across with our single crochets. I'm going to chain one, and we're going to turn our work. Okay, so for my first stitch, I'm going to work a half double. This chain one does not count. I'm going to go under both loops. Oh, I got to do half double. Yarn over, go under both loops, pull up my loop. We've got 3 loops, and yarn over, pull through all 3. Now, when I do this, we're going to be working and incorporating this stitch along with the next stitch. And the way that I do this is I yarn over, go under that first leg, then I go under the 2 loops, bring up a loop. So we have 4 loops, and yarn over and pull through all 4 of those. So when you do that, see how it makes this kind of slant forward? So once again, yarn over through that front leg, hop over to the next stitch under both loops, grab up a loop. Now I am kind of pulling this up kind of tall, guys, okay? Yarn over, pull through all 4. Yarn over, go under that front leg. I kind of have to use my thumb there a little bit. Hop over to the next stitch under both loops, grab up a loop. I dropped a stitch here. Let's get that one back on my hook. Okay, so now we've got 4. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 4. See how it's putting that line right there? I don't know. What do you think? Is it kind of cool? Yarn over through that front post, over to the next stitch, under both. Grab up a loop, pull it up tall. We've got 4. Yarn over, pull through all 4. Mary, I'm making a wheelchair blanket this morning. Yarn over, go under that front leg, hop over to the next, pull up my loop, yarn over, pull through all 4. That's how we're looking. We'll do a few more here, and I will also share with you how I learned the single crochet this way, okay? That's what inspired me to make this stitch, okay? So yarn over, and it kind of is a little bit challenging to get under that first loop, okay? I'm not going to try to tell you that it's not. It is a little challenging. But as I work it, I get a little faster at it. Pull through all 4. Yarn over, under that first leg, over under the next stitch, under both loops, grab up that loop, yarn over, pull through all 4. I just am kind of using my thumb to slide it under this loop right here. Susie says she likes it. It's going to give it a unique texture. Reminds me of the wheat stitch a little bit. Kayla, right. I've been working on the wheat stitch a lot. I like when we can get kind of some fun textures going on. This is how this is looking on the back. Case, this is a stitch that I just kind of came up with, but I'm calling it the Wheeler woven stitch. This is what it looks like once you get a bunch of rows stacked up. We're going to do some more along here. Yeah, it's stretchy, I think, because I used a bigger size hook. I don't want it to be too, tight. This yarn calls for an 8 millimeter. I'm using a 9 millimeter this morning, guys. Okay, so here we go. That's what I th wait, that's what I thought it was until I watched where the hook was going. Yeah, watch where my hook goes. Okay, so this is the stitch I just finished right here. See how we've got this leg right here that's coming down to that stitch? So normally with your half double, you yarn over, you go into the next stitch, and you pull through like that, right? And your stitches sit upright. What we're doing is instead of going into the next stitch, we're yarning over. Then I'm putting my hook behind this little leg here of my first stitch. Then I'm going under those two loops, grabbing up my loop. So we're getting a total of four. And then I'm yarning over and pulling through all four. So what that is doing is it's forcing that stitch to go sideways. All right, Kayla, have a great day. Sabrina says this is awesome. I want to try it now. Well, grab your yarn, Sabrina. Hopefully you're not having to work or something, and you can give it a little whirl. I was last night. I was chatting with friends on Discord and playing around with this stitch. And I was online with JT and Leah is who I was online with, and Hannah. I think Hannah was there also. It was kind of late last night. After I was after work, and I was saying to my friends, "What am I going to do tomorrow on the live? What am I going to do on the live?" And I said, JT said, "What if you get your anniversary cakes and work with your anniversary cakes?" I said, "That's a good idea, but what stitch am I going to do?" So then I showed him the stitch that I learned by watching a video. Let me show you how I learned it on the video. Okay, guys, I'm doing a modified half double. I've nicknamed this the Wheeler woven stitch. Okay. I don't know if this is a real stitch that exists out there in the universe already. Okay. If it does, if somebody has seen this being done before, be sure and comment here. Let me know if you have seen this before. Now, the way that I have seen this is a herringbone stitch. It's kind of a modified herringbone stitch. And you do that with a single crochet. So let me show you the single crochet version of this. So you would do a single crochet for your first stitch. Then what you would do is you would take your hook, go under that front leg into the next stitch, pull up a loop so you have three, and yarn over, pull through all three. Then for the next one, once again, you'd go under that front loop into the next, pull up a loop, and then pull through all three. Same thing. Slide under, and this is how it would look. Okay. But what I was thinking, I don't want to do a whole blanket that is single crochets, right? In my mind, I thought to myself, that's going to take forever, right? Lisa said I do a herringbone half double crochet. So is that what this is right here, Lisa? This is like a herringbone right here, or a version of a herringbone when you do the single crochets. But what I'm doing is a little different than that. So the way that I'm doing it is I yarn over, I'm putting my hook under that front leg. So the same concept as if I was going to do it with a single crochet, then go through that next stitch, bring up my loop. So now I have four, and then yarn over and pull through all four of those. Yarn over, go under that front leg, under those two bars, pull up a loop. Now we've got four again, and yarn over, pull through all four. I like this because it feels a little looser. It feels a little stretchier. And mentally, I'm not making single crochets. Mentally, I'm making half double crochets that are modified. I do like the single crochet. I'm not saying that I don't like the single crochet, but I don't want to make a whole blanket out of single crochets. You guys know what I mean by that? So that's what it looks like. Then what I was thinking too is I wonder how this would look with my beanies that I make. I think it would look kind of cool in a beanie, right? How I do it up and down, not top, not brim down, but from the sides. Herringbone half double is slightly different and gives it a herringbone effect. Yeah, it's different, right? Yeah, JT, wait, I missed it. Or Debbie said, I love this colorway so much. It's a nice colorway, right? So go through that front leg over to the next one. My brain doesn't do it quite perfectly yet. I'm still trying to master it. How do you end the row with that stitch? I'm just going to do the very last stitch and then I'm going to chain one and turn and go back the other direction. This yarn kind of, sometimes the fibers, you have to give it a little help. Pull through all four. Okay, yarn over. Here's that front leg. So I'm going to go under that front leg, hop over to my next stitch under both loops, grab up my loop. Now we have four, and yarn over and pull through all four. I like how it slants like that though. It's pretty neutral, like a gray ocean day, right? With the sand, like the sand coming in. I like that too. Let's get to the end of this row. And then we can turn our work and start working it back in the other direction. And y'all can see how that looks too. Because I do think it looks cool when you get the stitches stacked up. This is an example that I made last night of the stitches that are stacked on each other. That's the back. Here's the front. So you can kind of see how those little stitches are going. And then I thought, well, when I finish the blanket, what about doing a crab stitch border for it to give it a finished edge? Might look kind of cool. Hey, Mom, good morning. I'd like to see how you start the row. Sure thing, Jackson. I'll work on that and just let's get through this row here, and then we'll turn our work. Now, when I started this, friends, I chained 45 inches. I don't know how many chains that was. These are individual stitches, so it doesn't need to be in evens or anything like that. Okay, so I just chained up however big I wanted to make my blanket. So in this case, I'm going to do a 35 by 45. So I chained 45 inches. Then I worked a single crochet. This is my starting chain right here. Then I worked this single crochet and I then turned my work. Okay, so now we're working this modified stitch into these stitches as I'm doing it. So the way I do it is I yarn over, put your hook under the front leg of the stitch that you just made, hop over to the next stitch, go under both loops, grab up your loop. So now we have four, and then yarn over and pull through all three. Yarn over, go under that front leg, hop over to the next stitch, pull up that loop, and yarn over and pull through all four. So this is like a modified half double. And the way that I'm doing it, it's causing these stitches to kind of slant to the side. Did you start in the first chain or the second? I started in the second chain. Yeah, that's right. We're Vicky, we're rebelling it up this morning. Just inventing stitches over here. I like how this looks. I'm going to have to do a tutorial of this, y'all. I'm going to have to make a video and put this on the page so anybody who wants to make it can follow it. But we are live this morning, friends, on TikTok and on YouTube. So if you have to hop off and go to work or whatever, go take the kids to school, whatever it is, you can rewatch this over on YouTube. Okay, my handle over there is Wheeler 8 Acres, but I'll try to make this weekend also a video for TikTok of how I'm doing. Fake Ginger, I am doing a 9 millimeter crochet hook, and we're making a modified half double. So the way that I do this is I am yarning over, just like I would do a half double. But before I start the half double, I'm working under this front leg of the stitch that I just finished. Then I'm hopping over here to where my next stitch is, going under both loops. Hey Maggie, good morning. Welcome in. And yarn over and pull through all four loops. Y'all, if you are not following my friend Maggie, y'all are missing out. So be sure and hit the follow button there for my friend Maggie. She goes live on the weekends. Now, as a reminder, Maggie is not going to be live over on TikTok on Saturday. She has a wedding. Some other of us are probably going to go live on Saturday, but I have to figure out what Mr. Wheeler's schedule is and all that. But As a note, y'all, make sure you have your bell turned on. Okay. So when you go on my profile, there's a little bell where you can turn on the alerts. Make sure you hit that so that way you're notified when I do the Wild Wheeler pop ups. We might have the one this weekend. This colorway is giving me Georgia coast vibes. Uh, is Jekyll Island, Paloma? Is that where the big driftwood trees are at? I really want to go visit the Georgia driftwood beach. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? But this does remind me. This yarn definitely reminds me of what this is looking like. Finnegan, this stitch I just made up. I don't think stitch exists, but I'm calling it the Wheeler woven stitch. I made up a little swatch last night. This is what it looks like once you get a bunch of rows stacked on top of each other. So, again, I've never seen this stitch done this way. Our friends here have seen something similar, but not exactly like that. This is what the front looks like. This is what the back looks like. And then I'm tested doing a crab stitch for the border. Now, this yarn I'm using today, guys, this is the Caron anniversary cake. Okay, so we've got grande size yarn. This is a 6 super bulky yarn. And I'm using, this calls for an 8 millimeter hook, guys, but I bumped it up. I'm using a 9 millimeter. Okay, so this one on the right is my 8 millimeter. This is what the yarn calls for. I had done some other work with a different, I had Oceana, and I tried the 8 millimeter, and I felt like it was too tight. So today we are doing the 9 millimeter hook. Northern part of Jekyll has a driftwood beach. You can see, say, yes, Paloma, I want to go there. That is on my bucket list big time. I don't know how many hours it would take me to get there. I'm guessing probably like 6 hours, maybe? I'm not really sure. I use that stitch on some beanies. Do you know what it's called, Finnegan? This is how I'm doing it. I'm yarning over. I go under the front leg. I go under both bars of the next stitch. I grab up a loop. So now we have 4 loops and yarn over and pull through all 4. I have seen this as a single crochet modified, but I'm doing it as a half double. I'm doing it as a half double instead of a single. I like the look of the half double a little better, but I do think it would look really cool on a beanie. But like if you go to the Stitch Dictionary, I don't find this stitch in there. So I'm not really sure. I was just noodling around and I thought it would look kind of cool. So that's what we came up. Road trip, take me with you, right, Mom? Wouldn't that be fun to go over there? Yes, Lisa. 1 second here. Let's do another one. We're going to do a lot of these today. Okay, so here we go, guys. Yarn over. This is the stitch we just finished. Okay, do you see the leg of this stitch right here? The front leg. So I yarn over like I'm going to make a half double. But before I go into the stitch, I'm putting my hook underneath that stitch of the one I just finished. So basically, that's why I'm calling it a woven stitch, because I'm incorporating the one before. Then I hop over to the new stitch under both loops, grab up a loop. So now we have 4. And then we yarn over and pull through all 4. Okay. So when we do that, that is what's making that stitch go kind of sideways like that. Isn't the star stitch kind of like that? It is stuff, but the star stitch has more like arms on it, I think. Yarn over, go under that front leg, into the next, pull up a loop. Now we have 4. Yarn over, pull through all 4. Yarn over, under that front leg, hop over to the next stitch, pull up my loop. Now we have 4, and yarn over, pull through all 4. Yarn over, go under that front leg, and then go into the next stitch, pull up a loop. Beautiful variation of the herringbone half double, right? That's what I was thinking, Lisa. I've never done the herringbone half double. I've dubbed this the Wheeler woven stitch, but if there is really a stitch that is done like this that's already been invented, I would love to hear what it is. but that's what I'm calling it. So when we get to the end here, we're going to turn our work and I'm going to work this exact same stitch back the other direction. And we're just going to stack these up on top of each other. Hey, Kate, good morning. Isn't it a fun stitch though? The texture. Ooh, the texture. I love it. I will tell you, last night when I was working on this with JT and Leah and Hannah, I was geeking out here on my couch, let me tell you. Little bits. This yarn is a Caron anniversary cake in the colorway Oyster. Colorway Oyster. I've got a huge skein of yarn here in my lap, guys. Grande. I'm using a 9 millimeter hook. This is a 6 super bulky. You get this at Michael's. Now, this yarn can be hard to find. How I finally got mine is I went on the Michael's app as soon as I would wake up in the morning, even before I got my coffee, and I had it shipped in. Okay. I waited till I had a coupon, though, right? I waited until I had a coupon. Kate says I have one of those at home. Yeah, I've been trying to come up with a stitch that I want to make a blanket with this yarn that I like it. I really struggle with bulky weight yarn. It's not my favorite. You guys know it's kind of a thing that I stay away from, but I do love the colorways of the anniversary cakes. And the projects that I've seen that I am most drawn to are where they're like half doubles or singles. Um, Very simple kind of stitches. But I wanted to make mine a little fancier, put a little wheeler spin on it. It feels like a 4 weight. Really, Kate? Mine feels a lot thicker than a 4 weight. This is a 4 weight here. It definitely does not feel like a 4 weight to me, guys. It feels bigger. There you can see the difference. The orange on top or the gold on top is a 4 weight. So anniversary cakes are not the same colorways as cinnamon swirls. Yeah, this is the anniversary cake that I'm using. This is the colorway Oyster. They have a similar one that's a cinnamon squirrel cake, as we like to call them around here. A cinnamon squirrel cake is different than what I'm using today. A squirrel cake is a 4 weight yarn. Zulma, welcome in. Very nice to have you here this morning. Friends, if you are new to my page, my name is April. I'm a hobby crocheter, and I do work full time. I come on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings at 7:30 Central Time. And I usually stay on until about 9:30. At that time, I hop off and I work remote. So I go into my home office and go to work, feed the dog, feed the squirrels, all the things. But I stay on for a couple hours, 3 days a week. So we have a fabulous group here. I say all the time, it's not just about me. We have a wonderful group of fiber artists here in the chat. And we all have our coffee and chat and do a little stitch talk, and it's just a fun way to hang out in the morning and get our little crochet, our crojo happening along with our coffee. So it's a lot of fun. So welcome in, and we're certainly glad to have each of you. We do have a lot of people here on the chat, guys. I'm trying very hard to keep up with all of the comments. If I overlook your comment, please, it is not intentional. I'm not trying to overlook you. I try very hard to keep up, but some days this little chat is flying real fast with comments. So Jennifer says she has her energy drink. All right, Jen, that's awesome. I had to do one of those yesterday, I'll tell you. Lucy, good morning. Welcome in. Stitchivities. This yarn I'm using this morning is called Oyster, is the color. Let's see. Could make a video of the stitch. I'm very interested in the way you do it. Sherry, that is the plan. I just came up with this last night. Vardina said, I'm trying to find a good project for this yarn. That's where I found myself last night as I was sitting here thinking about this yarn and what am I going to do with it? I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to do like a half double in the back post or back loop. I mean, I just see that done all the time. I didn't want to do a single crochet. The idea of making a single crochet blanket, it doesn't give me happy, fun vibes. It just doesn't. And so as I was thinking about it, I was telling my friends about this other stitch that I had seen where it was a single crochet that was done with like this. But I said, I don't like the idea of doing a single crochet. What if I modified it and made it a half double so that it looked a little different? And it's given it this really like slanted texture on it. Here's what it looks like after you get a few of the rows stacked up. So I am live this morning, friends, on TikTok and on YouTube. On YouTube, my handle is called Wheeler 8 Acres. Wheeler 8 Acres, same as here on TikTok. Okay, when you look at my profile, there's a category that says videos, there's a category that says live, and there's a category that says shorts. You're going to want to go to the category that says shorts, and that will take you to all of the replays when we're on TikTok. So if you've got to go to work, but you want to come back and revisit, you could definitely find this over on YouTube. We have people watching this morning on YT. Um, the border that I was going to do for this blanket right here, this is the border. That is the crab stitch. Hey, Lisa, good morning. Welcome in, friend. How are you? So this is the crab stitch. So basically, I'm going to stack up all these rows for my blanket, then do the crab stitch as a border. I thought it was kind of a nice complement to the pattern. Hey, Captain Redbeard. Ahoy, my friend. Ahoy, matey. Um, this is what the back looks like. Okay, so I was just kind of experimenting how I was going to, kind of visualize the whole pattern, right? So the way I'm doing this stitch, friends, is I'm calling this the Wheeler woven stitch because as we're working this, instead of just going into the next stitch, which we traditionally do, we're working into this stitch and then moving to the next stitch. And we're working a half double that's modified. So I yarn over just like I'm going to do a half double. But before I go into this stitch, do you see this leg of this stitch that's hanging down here? Yarn over, slide your hook under that front leg, then put your hook under the 2 loops of your next stitch and bring up a loop. So now we have 4 loops, and then yarn over and pull through all 4. So when you do that, it makes the stitch go kind of slanted like that. Looks really cool, right? So again, yarn over, here's that front leg, slide my hook underneath that front leg. Now, sometimes I have to put my thumb here and help it slide on. Okay. Into the next stitch under both bars, both loops, grab up my loop. Now we have 4. Yarn over, pull through all 4. Hey, Luann, good morning. Welcome in, my friend. We're working on a blanket this morning. We're using the Caron anniversary cakes. Friends, if you're just hopping on, if you've got this yarn that you've picked up and you're not quite sure how you're going to use your yarn, we're looking at a stitch that you could possibly use for a blanket. Lisa asked a great question. How many skeins will this use, especially since it's a bulky yarn? That, my friend Lisa, I do not know. I bought 2 of these. I'm making a 35 by 45 size blanket. My hope is that only one skein will make a full blanket. But there again, I am not certain. Okay. So we'll have to, follow along and see how this progresses. And we're almost to the end here where we're going to be turning our work and working back in the other direction. Hey, Carol, good morning. Mama C is in the house, friends. Good morning. Good morning. Are you getting rain up there in Ohio, Carol? We're overcast again this morning here. So, yeah, Cap, I saw you doing some knitting last night. I was so impressed seeing that I can't hardly knit at all. Definitely a challenge. I was amazed. I was amazed at your willingness. Um, you'll probably need some of the other skein. Yeah, probably Wendy. And good morning, Wendy. Welcome in. Steph said it's sunny in Kansas. We're definitely on rainy day schedule again. Okay, here we go. Yarn over. Before I go into the next stitch with my half double, I'm going to go under the front leg of this stitch, guys. Okay, so I yarn over, pull my hook kind of backwards. You can see the angle I've got it at. And then I just kind of slide that stitch over my hook. Okay, so I slide underneath. Then we go under both loops of the next stitch, bring up a loop. So now we have 4 loops on this hook. Yarn over. I'm going to pull this one underneath all 4. This is a stitch that I came up with last night, Miss Becca. And I am calling this the Wheeler woven stitch. It's a modified half double. I'm using a 6 super bulky weight today. This is the Caron anniversary cake. So if you guys picked up one of these and you want to give this stitch a try, it looks really cool how it's given it kind of a sideways line of texture there. So it's definitely a little interesting variation. So once again, how I do this is I am yarning over. This is that first leg of the stitch. Okay, so I'm working under this one, then going into the next one, bringing up my loop. So now we have 4, and then pulling through all 4. Okay, once again, yarn over, slide my hook underneath that first leg of the stitch, hop over to the next, pull up a loop. So now we have 4, and yarn over, pull through all 4. Yarn over, pull your hook back a little bit, slide under that leg, into the next stitch under both bars, pull up a loop. We have 4 loops, yarn over, pull through all 4. So that's why I'm calling it the woven stitch, because basically we're linking these 2 stitches together. We're linking these 2 stitches together. So they're kind of incorporated and kind of tied in together with making them kind of woven. I just started watching what was your first stitch. My first stitch was a half double, and we're getting ready to do that. So I only have a few more, then we're going to turn our work. If you have time to stick around, we're going to start another row of this very soon. So again, yarn over, slide underneath that front leg into the next stitch, going under both loops, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 4. Uh-oh, you can't find the seasonings? I'm trying to have some self-control because I want to buy this yarn, but my camper is only so big. These are big skeins, guys. Grande yarn and a grande hook. I'm using a size 9mm hook this morning. 9mm hook this morning. My first row always curves. What's your tip? Um, not not mama. I don't know. I don't know if I said that right. Um, when you say your first row, is that your starting chain or is that your single crochet row? What row is it? Can you give me tell me what the stitch is? Is it your chain that you're putting your single crochet into? I think I know what your problem is, but I just want you to confirm. This yarn, Angel's Mom, I got at Michael's. I ordered it online. Yes. Okay. So here's what I'd recommend, Dot Mama, or not Mama. Um, when you do your starting chain, okay, so this was my starting chain right here. If we look at it, I crocheted my chain right here. Then I worked a single crochet into the back bump. What happens when you're first learning to crochet is your chain row will tighten up as you're making it. So these stitches along here, when you first do your chain, will become tighter than your other stitches. So what you can do is you take a different hook that's bigger when you do your chain. So go up a hook size when you make your chain, then go back down to the size you want to use. So for example, if I was using an 8mm hook for my project, I would, when I do my foundation chain, I would go up the next hook size. Okay. So you do your chain with a bigger hook size, then you go back down to your stitches, and that will help so that it doesn't curve. Does that make sense? Isabel, this is a stitch that I made up. I'm calling it the Wheeler woven stitch. Came up with it last night as I was sitting here talking crochet to my friends. And this is how we do it. Okay. So it's a modified half double. We yarn over. This is the stitch that I just finished. I'm going to put my hook underneath the front leg of this stitch. Then I'm going to hop over here to my next stitch, go under both loops, grab up a loop. So now we have 4 loops, and yarn over, pull through all 4. So when you do that, that is what is making those stitches go like to the side. They're pointing to the left. Okay? So once again, yarn over. This is that front leg of that stitch that I'm talking about. I slide my hook underneath. Sometimes you have to use your thumb here to get it to slide under. Then go under the next 2 loops here. Pull up your loop. So now you have 4 and yarn over, pull through all 4. Now, friends, you definitely want to work this stitch loose, okay? Definitely want to work this as a looser stitch. Yarn over into the next, under both loops, pull up a loop. Now we've got 4 and yarn over, pull through all 4. Sparky said, I feel like that would be pretty if you did it as a double crochet as well. I'd have to think about how to do that, Miss Sparky. With it would be taller. It would definitely be taller. It would kind of look more like a witch's broom. So, are you alternating this stitch with a half double? I am not. I am not. I'm doing all the same stitch on both rows. I worked up a little swatch, guys. This is what it looks like once you start stacking these on top of each other. Okay, I made this sample up last night. That's what one side looks like. This is what the other side looks like. Now, I also was testing out what border I want to do with this stitch when I get the blanket finished. And I am doing a crab stitch for the border. This yarn is soft. Lisa, I'm doing the same stitch for both, all the stitches are the same. Okay, I did a chain, then I did a single crochet. Then I'm doing this modified stitch. When I turn my work, I'm going to do the same modified stitch back in the other direction. So I'm not changing the stitch. I just am stacking these on top of each other. So when I go back the other direction, what happens is it makes the stitch, see how this one right here is going that way? This one right here is going that way. That's because I'm turning the work like that. So my whole blanket, yes, is going to be the modified stitch, the Wheeler woven stitch. Okay, pull through all 4. Yarn over under that front leg. We're almost to the end here to switch our rows. So let's carry on here and see what it looks like once I turn. Friends, if I miss your comment, I'm trying to explain the stitches and keep up. We do have a full room this morning, so please bear with me. If I do miss your comment, it is not intentional. I am not trying to overlook you. So please feel free to ask again. We have a fabulous group of moderators that help to answer questions as well. And you see them in here. They take care of the bots. They help to pin what I'm doing and all of those things. So how about a round of applause for our moderators? They are incredible. They help me do this every day, guys. I could not do it without them. So, JT, are you feeling overlooked, my friend? How about a shout out for JT, who's feeling overlooked this morning? JT in the house. I love you, my friend. Y'all, I'm just poking fun at JT. We're having a little banter back and forth. JT and I are good friends. So don't think anything different. So, guys, when I started this blanket, I didn't count the number of chains I did. I went by how big I wanted my blanket. Okay. So I wanted my blanket size to be 35 by 45, which is the size that I use for my wheelchair blankets. All right. So I chained up as many as got me to 45 inches. Okay. So I'm 45 inches wide. I'm going to make this 35 inches wide. So I'm going to keep stacking these on top of each other. So if you want to make a throw blanket that is 50 by 60, I can't exactly tell you how many chains that's going to be. But what I would recommend is if you want it 60 inches running long, so it's like rectangle shape, I would chain enough to get 60 inches and just measure. You don't have to have this in even increments or anything like that. Okay, so it's very easy to do this stitch, but for my wheelchair size, this blanket will be for donation, and it will be 35 by 45 ish once I get it finished. Okay, that's a good size for a wheelchair blanket. So here I am, friends, to the last stitch. I do the very last stitch the same as all the others. Okay, I just pull through all 4. That is the very last stitch. Okay. Now I'm going to chain one and we're going to turn our work and we're going to go back the other direction. Betsy, I'm not sure if this is going to take one anniversary cake or not. This is my first time doing a blanket with this yarn. So I'm learning right along with all of you guys as you're doing it. But this is the yarn I'm using, guys. It's a Caron anniversary cake. This is the colorway Oyster. Isn't it a pretty yarn? Really, really pretty. So this is how it's working up. Now we're looking at the back of the work. Okay, so we're going to work that same modified stitch all the way along. So this chain one that I made does not count. Okay, for the first stitch, I'm just going to do a half double crochet. Go under both loops, half double. Okay, so that is the very first stitch out. Now I'm going to do the modified stitch. Okay, so I yarn over. Now this bar right here, see this one? The front leg of that stitch, I'm going to put my hook underneath that leg of that stitch. So I slide my hook under, I hop over here to the next stitch and I'm going under both loops. Okay, both loops with my hook, bring up a loop. So now we have four. Yarn over, pull through all four. Okay, so now we're going to start slanting as we work along. So yarn over, here's that front leg, slide my hook underneath, hop over to the next stitch, going under both loops. Now, we did try last night going under the back loop only, and I did not like the look of that. You know, I like doing uh, unique textures and stuff, but I did try that and I wasn't a fan. So this I like going under both loops. I feel like it makes it look really cool. So here we go again. Yarn over. Here's that front leg. Put my hook underneath that leg into the next stitch. Pull up my loop. This is a stitch that I came up with last night, my friend. Brand new stitch. I'm calling this the Wheeler woven stitch. Okay. So yeah, when I start it right here, we do just a half double is how we start. Okay. But this is a modified half double. Okay. Here we go. Yarn over, go under that front leg, hop over to our next stitch, pull up a loop. So now we have four. Yarn over, pull through all four. Now you definitely want to make this, you know, you work in this kind of loose, okay? I went up a hook size. The yarn calls for an 8 millimeter. I went up to a 9 millimeter. We want this to be kind of flowy. Yarn over, put my hook under that front leg. Use your thumb if you've got to slide that little guy on there. Slide my hook under both loops, pull up a loop. We have four loops. Yarn over, pull through all four. See how they're starting to slant now? Kind of groovy, right? I'm using a 9 millimeter hook this morning. Here's how we're looking on the back. Here's an example of another colorway that I tested out last night with a crab stitch border. That's how I'm going to finish the blanket. I think the crab stitch is a nice complement to it. So let's continue on here. Desert Life said you'll have to make a video tutorial for this stitch. I absolutely will. Honestly, what I'll probably do, friends, is I might just extract a clip out of the live this morning on TikTok and publish that out. So anyhow, I'll probably be able to do that sooner than later. I love how you can make up a stitch. Something I'm learning about the crochet world. You absolutely can. Not mama. It's I've been crocheting for 41 years, guys. I do not consider myself an expert crocheter. I learn new things every single day. I learn new stitches. There are hundreds of stitches I have never even tried. And so it's a constant learning thing. And that is what I love about crochet. I'm always pushing my mind to expand and trying new things and trying out new stitches, trying out new yarns. I swear my yarn collection is as big of an influence and thing on me than is on just the crochet. It's like two separate hobbies in itself. And what I did is I bought some of the Caron anniversary cakes, guys. And then I said to myself, well, now you bought it. What the HE double hockey sticks are you going to do with it? April, now you've bought the yarn. What are you going to do with it? So I came up with a little stitch last night that I thought would work pretty well and make it look kind of nice. I like the fun texture on it. So basically, we're doing a yarn over, just like we're going to do a half double. Now, normally with your half double, you just go into the next stitch, right? And you work your half doubles and they stand upright. Okay. So they stand upright like that. What we're doing is we're incorporating the stitch that we just finished before we make that half double. Okay, so it's a modified half double. So just like with a half double, we yarn over. Before we go into this stitch, we're going to slide our hook under that front leg of this stitch. Very easy. Slide your hook under, then go into this stitch. Pull up a loop. Now we've got 4 and pull through all 4. So when we do that, it is forcing that stitch to kind of go to the left as we're working it. And they're kind of intertwined. And that's why I'm calling it the woven stitch, because we're working them kind of in conjunction with each other. And it's just giving it a fun texture. So yarn over, go under that front leg, into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 4. Yarn over, slide under that first leg into the next stitch, pull up a loop. Now we have 4, yarn over, pull through all 4. Yarn over, slide under that first leg into the next, pull up a loop. Now we're back to 4, yarn over, pull through all 4. Yarn over, slide my hook underneath that leg into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through all 4. Okay, so that is how we're looking. Renee said, I love this stitch. I'm such a tight crocheter that I want to tighten them down so bad. Yeah, that's why I went up a hook size, Renee, is it just helps to keep the stitch kind of loose and flowy and not pull down too much as I'm doing it. But I'm definitely trying to work it a little looser. Again, there's what the back looks like. So we're just going to keep stacking these rows on top of each other, repeating them until I get this as large as I want it for my blanket. This is a Caron anniversary cake that I got from Michael's, guys. I ordered this online. I know they're hard to get. If you do want to get one, what my recommendation would be is to go online to the Michaels app early in the morning. Like I was going on there as soon as I got up. Even before I had my coffee, I would go to the Michaels. I'd be laying there in bed checking on yarn. And finally, one day in the morning, the yarn was available. And so I ordered it and had it shipped to me. Now, so my Michaels, friends, is about an hour and 15 minutes away. And you all know if you've tried to look for these cakes, guys, they're hit and miss at the stores because as soon as they arrive, people are buying them, right? And so I didn't want to drive an hour and 15 minutes to look for anniversary cakes. It seemed like a frivolous trip knowing that I probably would not be able to get an anniversary cake. So I just waited until I found them online and then I ordered and had them shipped in. So I bought 2 uh, of the skeins and I don't know if it's going to be enough to use just one of the cakes, but we will find out. Okay. So we'll know after I keep working this project if it's going to take 1 or 2, but I do have a second one as a backup. Now, I am working a smaller blanket. I'm working a 35 by 45 wheelchair size so that I can donate the blanket. Okay. So if you're working a bigger size blanket, like a 50 by 60, I think you're definitely going to need probably 2 skeins of this, but I could be wrong. So the way that I calculated this, guys, I didn't count my chains. I thought in my mind, okay, how big do I want this blanket to be? I want this to be a 35 by 45. Then I thought to myself, how do I want my rows to run? Do I want them to run horizontal like this, or do I want them to run long as the person is using it? And I wanted it to run long ways like this, right? So that would be the 45 inches long. So what I did is I chained up until I got to 45 inches long. Again, I did not count the chains. I just kind of guesstimated and made it about 45 inches. when you work this stitch, it is not important how many you have. It doesn't have to be an even number. It doesn't have to be an odd number. You just kind of eyeball it and figure out what you want to do. Okay. So lots of wiggle room to do this. And I'm going to keep stacking these rows on top of each other until I get it taller, until I get it the 35 inches. So my end result will be roughly 35 by 45. But yeah, there's no need to count it and overcomplicated it, right? I just kind of measured. I folded my chain in half and then I measured it until I got it roughly 45. BJ, I'm working with a 9 millimeter hook this morning. I started first with an 8 millimeter hook when I was working on a different project, and I felt like it was a little snug. The Caron anniversary cakes do call for an 8 millimeter hook, but I feel like for me, the 9 works a little nicer. It's a little looser of a stitch, but there again, I am kind of intertwining these stitches as I go. So it needs to have some kind of play to it because I'm making this stitch kind of go at an angle. Okay, so the way I'm doing this, it's a modified half double, yarn over. I'm putting my hook under the front leg. Then I'm hopping over to the next stitch, pulling up a loop. We have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 4. I've nicknamed this the Wheeler woven stitch because we're incorporating this stitch is kind of interlinked with that one, kind of making it more woven. This is the sample of what I did last night when you kind of get more rows stacked on top of each other. We're only on the second row right now. So once we get more, it'll start to look more like this. I'm doing the same stitch for all the rows. Okay. I started with a starting chain and then I did a single crochet into the back bump. On the starting chain, Lisa asked, did you go up a size? Because the next size would be big. I did not. I used the same. But I'm pretty good with controlling my tension. And so I just make sure when I do my starting chain, that was this right here, that I make it kind of loose as I do it so that it stays flat. Okay, but here we go. Yarn over. Here's that front leg of the stitch. Slide our hook underneath. Go into the next stitch under both loops. Okay, pull up a loop. Now we have 4 and yarn over, pull through all 4. Yarn over, here's that front leg, slide my hook underneath. Use your thumb if you need to push that through, and then go into the next stitch, pull up a loop. Again, you can see I'm kind of pulling this up a little taller, right? And because I'm pulling it up taller, this will give me enough room to incorporate that next stitch in, okay? So yarn over, go under that front leg into the next and pull up a loop. So what you don't want to do, friends, see how this is sitting down lower? If I was to pull this through now, do you see how that is shorter? Then when you are yarning over and trying to go under that stitch into the next, it's going to make this sit much tighter to your project. So that's why I'm saying I'm pulling it up kind of tall. Let's rewind a couple here so we can see how I'm doing this. Okay. So yarn over, slide under, into the next stitch, pull up a loop. So this is how my hook comes out. I'm pulling this up kind of tall, giving myself some wiggle room there. Okay. So if you're making it and it starts to tighten up or feel too tight, you would need to just pull up a little bit. Yarn over, slide my hook through, and then under both loops, grab up that loop, pull it up tall again, and yarn over, pull through all 4. Yarn over, slide under that front leg, into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull yarn over, pull through all 4. We're changing colors again. Now we're to that really, it's almost like a sandy blush color is what it looks like to me. It's really a pretty, pretty color. It reminds me, has anybody been to Lake Powell, Arizona? Has anybody been to Lake Powell? This color right here reminds me of the Lake Powell beaches. It is sandstone in Arizona, and that sandstone erodes and it makes the beaches kind of a rusty. sandy color. And that is what that colorway right there reminds me of, is the sandstone beaches at Lake Powell, Arizona. Lake Powell, I think, is in Utah also, if we have any friends in Utah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Lake Powell goes into both states. We spent some time at Lake Powell. Love it there. Used to get a houseboat and do some camping. Pam says, yes, we rented a houseboat for a week. Right, Pam? Are you feeling the Lake Powell sand color on this? Or am I just off in wild wheeler craziness land again? I mean, you could say. But that is what it reminds me of, is the sandy beaches of Lake Powell. Really pretty. I love how they put the grays too with the tans. There's also a lighter color. See, these are lighter grays. Really nice color combo, huh? Okay, we've got a ways to go before we're going to be able to turn. I got to keep going. Two things can be true at the same time. Utah too. Yeah, like isn't Bryce Canyon sandstone like that, Mom? If I'm remembering correctly, Zion and Bryce. Zion, I don't remember as much of the outcroppings. I think it's Bryce that has the really beautiful eroded red sandstone. Bryce isn't it a national park or a national monument? Up in Arizona too. There's some like Monument Valley and stuff has this pretty sandy color also. I do love that. Sedona. Anybody been to Sedona, Arizona? It kind of reminds me of that, but to me, the Sedona hills are much darker red. Yes, Ruth, I'm making a blanket this morning. We're working with a modified half double, and we're just working it along. I'm calling this the Wheeler Woven Stitch. Kind of came up with this little gem last night. We are using a Caron anniversary cake, grande size, limited time. We get these at Michael's. They're kind of hit and miss, but it's really pretty. It's got grays and kind of some rosy, sandy colors in it. Really pretty. This is the colorway Oyster that I am using today. Let's see. Luann said, I just checked my Michaels app, and the only colorway they have is beach towel. There were three colors available this morning, Luann, so they've already sold out of two other colors. But if you guys are looking for this yarn, it is very hit and miss. How I got mine is I would get up early in the morning. Even before I got my coffee, I'd lay there in bed, I'd open up the Michaels app, and I would see what was available. And I kept checking every morning, bright and early, before Stud Muffin was even crowing in the morning. And I would make sure to check. And then finally, one day, the colors were there. And I ordered online and had them shipped in. Okay. Our closest Michael's is an hour and 15 minutes away. So it's not like it's convenient for me just to pop over there and see what's available. But that's how I got mine finally. Okay. As I went to the Michael's app. Now, when I went to Michael's online on my computer, I never could find it. I never could find it. I only was able to find it on the Michaels app. And I think it was a live that I was watching where somebody said that's how to get it. I don't remember. Was it JT that told me that? Could be. I'm not really sure. So I got a tip here on TikTok that told me that. So I'm paying it forward and telling y'all, if you want to get the anniversary cake, that is how I finally was able to secure some. And I got a few different colorways. So we'll be making more of these blankets for sure, depending on how this turns out. But I'm really liking this colorway. I think it's a nice colorway. Really pretty. This one is called Oyster. I also got um, the blue one that's Oceana, and the one that looks like a party at the beach. I don't remember what that one is called, but it's like pink and mint green and yellow and all that. I think that is a really pretty. I got some of that. I don't remember what it's called. And I got the berry one. Isn't there like a pink, pretty berry looking color? That one I really like too. And I picked up some of that. Karina says mine shows green flash, Tropical Breeze, and Beach Towel all in stock. Is that on the Michaels app, Karina? That's when I got multiple cakes. Yes, Berry Ripple, Mama Herrera, thank you. Berry Ripple. I got that one too. I think that one's going to work up really nice. So friends, the stitch that I'm doing with this yarn is a modified half double. Okay. The way that we do this stitch is normally you would just work your half double, you yarn over, you go under both loops, pull up your loop and pull through, right? And these stitches sit upright. What we are doing is before we work into that half double, we're working into the front leg. So basically, I am tying this stitch together as we do it. I do not know what this stitch is called. Okay. I came up with it last night. I don't know if it's an official stitch that's been published, but this is how I'm doing it. And I'm calling it the Wheeler woven stitch because I am Wheeler. Wild Wheeler. All right. So what we do is we yarn over. Before I go into this stitch with my half double, I'm going to slide my hook under this front leg of this stitch. So the one I just finished, slide underneath. Then I go over to the next stitch, go under both loops, and pull up a loop. So now we have 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. When you do that, what happens is it forces that stitch to slant to the side like that. Okay. I have seen this with single crochets. What I have not seen it with is a half double. So the single crochet, if you're doing it, you would do it like this. Here, let me do a couple single crochets because that's another option. I've seen that on purses and stuff, like you're mentioning, Lupe. So you have your single crochets, right? Before I go into this stitch, if you want to work a single crochet, you slide under that loop, under both loops, and then pull up your loop, and then pull through all 3. Slide under the front, into the next, pull up a loop, pull through all 3. This is the single crochet. This is like a herringbone modified. Okay, so again, slide under, but this is a single crochet. Okay, so this is how this one looks right here. However, what I'm doing is a half double. See how it's taller and bigger? So that is how I'm doing mine. Okay. But it's nice too as a single if you want something that's really tightly woven. I don't want something that's really tightly woven. So that's how I'm modifying this is instead of doing it the single, it's the same concept, right? But I'm doing a half double instead. So instead of just going through that front leg, that's not what I'm doing. I'm yarning over, then go through the front leg, then go into the stitch, pull up a loop. Now we have 4, and then yarn over and pull through all. So again, yarn over, slide underneath that loop, slide under both loops, pull up a loop. Now we have 4, and then pull through all 4. So it's a half double modified instead of a single crochet modified. So yarn over, slide under that front leg. Sometimes I'll use my thumb to push it on the hook, and then under the both loops here, pull up a loop. So now we have 4, yarn over, pull through all 4. Once again, yarn over, slide under that front leg, into the next stitch under both bars, grab up our loop. Now we have 4 loops, yarn over, pull this stitch through all 4. And as we do that, it's forcing that stitch to look sideways, to slant sideways. This is how the other side of the work looks. Okay. Once I get all the way through this line, we're going to go back the other direction and do the exact same stitch. Okay. Here is an example of how it looks with multiple stitches stacked on top of each other, all the same. So there's what you get with one side. Here is what you get with the other side. So again, you can kind of see how those slants are. Here's another slanting one there. Now, for the blanket edging, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a crab stitch. So what you see right here, when I get all done with the blanket, I'm going to put a crab stitch border all the way around. Yeah, the drape is really nice, JT. Really, really nice. So, what we mean by drape, friends, Jedi, I certainly will show it. Give me 1 second. Let me just talk about this real quick. So, friends, this is a Caron anniversary cake. When we talk about drape, that is how the fabric flows. Okay. This yarn in particular calls for a size 8 millimeter crochet hook. Okay. This is an 8 millimeter crochet hook right here. When I did my Oceana project, which you can see the blue fuzz from my Oceana project on my hook, um, I used the 8 millimeter, which is what the yarn called for. However, when I'm doing this new stitch, I have gone up a hook size. We are using a 9 millimeter. So you can kind of see the difference here in the hook sizes. This is what the yarn actually calls for. The reason why I went up a hook size is because as we are working these stitches, we are tying them together. Okay. So because I'm going and incorporating this stitch here into the next one, we need it to be very flowy. So when we talk about drape, see how this has lots of stretch and flowiness? We call that drape. It's draping really nice. Especially important if you're doing like a cardigan. If you use too small of a hook, your stitches are going to be very tight and you're not going to have a good flowiness, a good drape to your article. So that is why we went up a hook size. Okay. So here we go again. Instead of working my half double into the next stitch here, we're going to modify it a little bit. This is very easy to do. Okay. Kennedy, no problem. Welcome in. We're going to yarn over just like we're going to do a half double. Before I go into this stitch, see the front leg of this one that we just made? I'm going to bring my hook down, slide my hook underneath that front leg. Then I'm going to go under both loops of that next stitch where I would normally work and bring up my loop. So now we have 4 loops on our hook here. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 4. Okay. And that will complete our stitch. But what that has done is it's woven this stitch and the next stitch together, right? It's kind of tied them together. Dark Horse said, you just taught me something new. Well, I'm glad. Welcome in, Dark Horse. Yarn over. Here we go. This is the leg of that stitch that we just made. Bring your hook down, slide your hook underneath into the next stitch, pull up a loop. Now we've got 4. Yarn over, pull through all 4. Okay, that's what's causing that stitch to do its little slant action. Yarn over, right under both loops, into the next stitch, bring up our loop. Now we're back to 4. Yarn over, pull through all 4. This yarn can be a little splitty, guys, as you're working on it. Just be patient, work slow with it, and you'll get the feel for it as you're working it. Sometimes because I slow down to explain the stitches, it does make it a little difficult as things are sliding around on my hook. Okay, but here we go. Once more, yarn over. Here's that front leg. Okay, slide your hook underneath that front leg into the next stitch. Bring up your loop. Now we've got 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull this one underneath all 4 loops. Hey, Rachel, good morning. Welcome in, friend. Yarn over, slide that hook underneath that post into the next stitch, bring up a loop. Hey, Gabby, good morning. So what stitch do you start the row with? I started with a half double. So way back here at the beginning of the blanket, the very first stitch that I did as we were just starting out, I think this got twisted. Hang on. I did a half double right here for the very first stitch. So half double, then I started working this modified half double, and I'm working the modified half double all the way down, and I'm working it in both directions. Okay. So this is the back that we're doing. Here's what it looks like on the other side. And we're going to stack these up row after row after row. Rachel, this is a stitch that I came up with last night. You know, Wild Wheeler, always liking to invent things. We're almost to the end here, but I'm calling this, guys, the Wheeler woven stitch. It is a modified half double. So here's how we do it, okay? Yarn over. See the leg of this stitch right here that we just finished? I'm going to slide my hook underneath that stitch. Then I go into the next stitch, pull up a loop. Now we have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 4. When you do that, it is causing that loop that we went under to go to the side. And it is giving it a really cool texture. So I'm working this in both directions now. When I first started, I did a starting chain. Okay, this is my starting chain. Then I turned and I worked a single crochet into the back loop all the way along. And then I am now working the Wheeler woven stitch. Okay, so yarn over, slide your hook underneath that front bar into the next stitch, pull up a loop. Now we have 4, yarn over, pull through all 4. Yarn over, again, there's that front leg, the post. Slide your hook underneath that post into the next stitch, pull up a loop. Now we're back to 4, yarn over, pull through all 4. Again, wrap our yarn around, slide underneath that post. Sometimes you have to use your thumb, just give it a little push into the next, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 4. So it's very, very easy to do, guys. Now, I did go up a hook size, okay, because we're tying these stitches together. You need to have some wiggle room. You've got to have a little play in your yarn. Otherwise, it's going to be too tight as you're working that stitch. Okay, so make sure you're having lots of stretch to your project as you're doing it. Karen said, "Good morning, new stitch. Love it. I'm going to try this on my next project." Awesome, Miss Karen. Glad to hear that. I'm going to make a video of this, guys, on my TikTok, so you'll be able to go back and reference how to make this stitch. We are live this morning, both on TikTok and on YouTube. So if you have to hop off and go to work or take the kids to school, you can always rewatch over on YouTube. We have a whole group that's watching over there as well this morning. My handle on YouTube is Wheeler 8 Acres. Wheeler 8 Acres. As you look at my profile, there are multiple categories on YouTube. There is a category called videos. There's a category called shorts. And what you need to look for is the category that says live. So after I go live, you can rewatch the replay in the live section of my YouTube. Okay, so definitely I will make a little tutorial as well of how to do this stitch itself. But this is a very easy stitch to do. I feel like it is looking fabulous with this anniversary cake. I'm really liking how it's working up. It's fun to do. It gives a little variation to a half double and gives it a fun texture. So it's really kind of cool. We're almost to the end. Let's work these last stitches, then we'll turn our work so you can see how to turn your work. So yarn over. Again, here's that front leg of the stitch. I'm going to bring my hook down, slide underneath that stitch, into the next stitch under both loops, pull up a loop. Now we have 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. Hey, Mrs. Bee's Knees, welcome in, my friend. It's nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope things are well. We're working a modified half double this morning. I've called it the Wheeler woven stitch. So here we go. Yarn over. Here's that front leg. Slide your hook underneath that. Into the next, slide under both loops. Okay. Pull up a loop. Now we have 4 loops. Yarn over, pull through all 4. As we do that, it is forcing this stitch to kind of go to the left. Okay. Yarn over underneath that front loop, the front bar, into the next stitch, pull up a loop. 50,000 likes. Y'all, thank you so much. Everybody is tip tapping away this morning. Tippy tappy as it rains. It's definitely overcast here. I know a lot of y'all are getting rain this morning. It doesn't do too well with my rheumatoid arthritis, I'll tell you that. But anyhow, thank you all so much for all of the taps this morning. And thanks for hanging out with us. I hope y'all are having a fabulous Thursday. It's Friday Eve, y'all. We're almost to the weekend. How about that? How about that? Uh, Anne, welcome in. Nice to have you here this morning. Proud Grandma, good morning. Welcome in. We're doing a modified half double this morning. I came up with this last night and just showing y'all how it's kind of working up. So we're going to get to the very end here and we're going to turn our work, but we have a few more stitches to do here. So let's talk through these as you all are watching me make this stitch. So the way we do this is we yarn over. See the stitch here, the leg of the stitch where we just finished? I'm going to bring my hook down and we're going to slide our hook underneath that front post that we just made, that little stitch that's hanging down. We're going to hop over to the next stitch and pull up a loop. So now we have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, we're going to pull this one through all 4. When we do that, it makes it go to the left, okay? So again, yarn over. Here is that stitch that we just finished. So before I start my half double, I'm going to slide my hook underneath the front leg of that stitch. Yarn over, slide my hook underneath that front leg into the next stitch, under both loops, pull up a loop. Now we have 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. You want this stitch to be kind of loose, friends, as you're working it, okay? Because you need to have enough for it to kind of lean to the side. Yarn over, here's that front leg, slide our hook under. Use your thumb if you have to kind of situate it there and get it to slide. Into the next stitch, under both bars, pull up a loop. Now we have 4 loops, yarn over, pull this guy through all 4. Okay, again, yarn over, slide under that front post that we had there, into the next stitch, pull up a loop, back to 4 stitches, yarn over, pull through all 4. So this is just a modified half double, okay? If you can do a half double crochet, guys, you can make this stitch, I promise. The only thing we're doing different is instead of working the half double directly into this stitch, we're taking a little detour. So we yarn over, the detour is underneath the leg of this stitch right here. Slide our hook under into the next stitch, under both bars, both loops, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 4. Hey, good morning, Kimberly. Nice to have you here this morning. Sierra, good morning. Rin Sierra, nice to have you here. Yeah, it's very simple, but it gives it a fun little texture that you don't normally get with your half double. So it works really nice for this yarn. So we've got 2 more stitches here, okay? And then we're going to turn the work. Then I'll give you a rundown of how I started this whole project if you're just coming on, okay? So here we go. Once again, yarn over, take our little detour. We're going to slide our hook underneath the legs of that front stitch there. Into the next stitch, under both loops, grab up our loop. Now we've got 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull this loop through all 4 stitches. One more time, yarn over, slide my hook underneath the legs of that stitch we just made, into the next stitch, under both loops, pull up a loop. Now we have 4, yarn over, pull through all 4. Okay, that is how we're going to finish that row. So the row is complete now. How I turn my work, friends, is I do a very simple chain 1. Okay, now I'm going to turn my work and we're going to work back in the opposite direction. And we're going to work that exact same stitch all the way across. Now, for our very first stitch, as we're starting out, do not pay attention to the loop that is on your hook. It does not count, okay? Here is that chain stitch that we just made. See that chain stitch? That stitch also does not count. Now into the next stitch, I'm going to work just a normal half double crochet. So I yarn over, go under both loops with my half double. That is getting us set up to do the modified half double the rest of the way across. So now we're going to switch to the Wheeler woven stitch, which all it is a modified half double. We're going to yarn over into the stitch here that we just made. See the leg of this stitch that's coming down? I'm going to bring my hook down and slide my hook underneath that loop. Then I'm going to hop over here to the next stitch and pull up a loop. So we have a total of 4 loops on our hook. Then I'm going to yarn over, pull this loop underneath all four. As we work this, what's going to happen is these stitches are going to start slanting to the left. Okay, so here we go once again with our next stitch. Yarn over. This is that front leg of the stitch. Bring your hook down, slide underneath that, into the next stitch, pull up a loop. Now we have four. Again, you're going to want to pull this up nice and tall. Miss Caroline, I'm working with a 9mm hook this morning. This yarn calls for an 8mm, but we need to have a little wiggle room for this stitch. Because we're causing it to stretch longer, we went up one hook size. So, friends, it calls for an 8mm. This is my 8mm. This is my 9mm. So I went up a hook size. Kara, thank you so much. I do try to teach some crochet here on the lives. Friends, if you are new to my channel, my name is April, and I come live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings. I get on at 7:30 Central Time, and I stay on until about 9:30. Now, friends, my work has been really busy right now, so I'm going to be hopping off in a few minutes. But I just want to give another rundown. We'll go for maybe another 10 minutes or so before I hop off. Um, the name of this pattern is something that I just made up. I created this stitch last night, and I'm calling it the Wheeler Woven Stitch. My nickname is Wheeler. My husband loves off-roading. My name is April, but my handle here is Wheeler 8 Acres. And so everybody calls me Wheeler. You can call me April. You can call me Hey You. I'll answer. All right. But I'm calling it the Wheeler Woven Stitch. And the reason why I came up with that is because instead of just doing our half double into the next stitch, we're incorporating the stitch that we just made. So we yarn over. I'm going to go under the leg of this first stitch, then into the next stitch and bring up a loop. So we have a total of 4 loops on our hook. Then I yarn over and I pull through all 4 loops. And when you do that, it causes that stitch to kind of go to the side. Correct me if I'm wrong, Meg, but the herringbone stitch is made with a single crochet, not a half double. I could be incorrect, but I don't think it's a herringbone. You guys may know I definitely am not a crochet expert, so definitely give your feedback if you think it's a herringbone, but I don't think it is. The herringbone is worked a little different. So, to give kind of a recap, friends, of how we're doing this project, this morning I am working with a Caron anniversary cake. Okay, it's a very big skein of yarn. I got this at Michael's. They are a little harder to find right now. The way that I was able to finally get mine is in the morning, even before I got up and had coffee, I would lay there in bed with my Michael's app and I would look for the anniversary cakes very first thing in the morning. And that was how I was able to order them. My Michael's is about an hour and 15 minutes away. So when I finally got it, I just ordered online. I didn't want to make a trip to the store and then not have it be there. The way that I worked this pattern, guys, I am repeating this row over and over again with this modified half double. I wanted my blanket to be 35 inches by 45 inches. So, Courtney, what I did is I measured, I didn't count how many chains I had. I measured to 45 inches. So, if you can envision, here's a blanket, right? I'm making wheelchair size. So, envision 35 inches across the top here and 45 inches tall, right? So, what I did is I decided I want my blanket to run long ways like this if somebody's using it. So I wanted the long edge of my blanket to be 45 inches. So I chained until I got to 45 inches. Again, I did not count the chains. I just measured. So I just folded my chain in half until I got it to be about what I thought was about 45 inches. And then I took my tape measure, right? And I measured, it might be a little bigger than 45 inches, but it's working out to be about 24 and a half ish. Okay, so it's going to be like 49 inches. It's not really the end of the world for me. So I just kind of eyeballed it. So if you wanted a 50 by 60, I would do the same thing. I wouldn't count the chains. I would just kind of measure and eyeball it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep repeating these rows over and over again until I get it to be 35 inches wide. Okay. So as I started the blanket, I had my starting chain. Then I turned my work, and working into the second chain from the hook, I did a single crochet into the back bump. And I worked that all the way across a single crochet for my very first row. Okay, so a starting chain, then we did our single crochets all the way across. Then when I got to the very end, I turned my work just like we did right now, and I worked a half double into the very first stitch. Now I'm working the modified stitch all the way across, and I'm doing that for both rows. So I'm working it all the way across with this modified half double. Okay, so here we go. Let me get untangled here. I got it kind of wrapped up. I hope that helps to answer your question of how I'm doing this stitch. This is a bulky weight yarn, guys. This is a 6 super bulky. I personally have struggled a lot with finding patterns that I like with a bulky weight yarn. Most of the time, I have been unsuccessful and I have not made a lot of bulky weight blankets because I do not like them. I don't like how they turn out. They don't feel flowy, they feel kind of tough and rigid. This is totally working out very, very different. Ginger Holly, I'm going to take you through it right now. If you want to do a screen record, you can. I'm also going to make a TikTok with our video that we made today. I'll extract a clip of it out and I will publish it on my TikTok so you can come back and save that. All right. Oh, JT is saying good morning to the bots this morning, y'all. Well, welcome in to all of the bots. Welcome into all of you crocheters as well. Here we go. Let's work this stitch. Okay, we're going to do this a few more times. So we yarn over. Instead of working the half double into the next stitch, we're going to take a little detour. And that detour is we're going to put our hook underneath the legs of this stitch. So we yarn over just like we're going to do our normal half double. Take our detour, slide our hook underneath the legs of that stitch. Okay, into the next stitch, we're going to slide our hook. I'm going under both loops. Now I pull up my loop. So now we have 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. Okay. When we do that, what is happening is it's incorporating the stitch that we're currently working on with the new stitch. Hence, we have the woven stitch. They're woven together, right? So here we go again. Yarn over. Instead of going directly into the next stitch, we've got to take our little detour. So the detour is this front post here that you see of our first stitch. Yarn over, slide our hook underneath that post that you see there. Again, I'm leaving all the rest of it behind, okay? Just that front leg into the next stitch. Now we're going to do our half double. Finish it. Pull up a loop. So we have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 4. Normally with your half double, you have 3 loops on your hook. So we're just incorporating in another little loop to add some little definition to our project. Okay, so here we go. Yarn over. Don't go into the stitch right away. You've got to take this detour. Go underneath the leg of that stitch, into the next, pull up a loop. We have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull this one through all 4 loops. Don't let your hook slide off like I just did. Okay, here we go. Yarn over. Here's that front leg. Don't go in this one yet. Take your little detour, slide underneath that into the next, pull up your loop. We have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 4. Isn't it looking cool, EB Mac? Guys, this stitch is something I came up with last night. I've never seen this done before. Okay, I'm working with a 6 super bulky weight yarn today. So all of you that ran out and got a Caron anniversary cake and it's sitting there in your yarn stash and you're thinking to yourself, what the HE double lucky sticks am I going to do with this yarn? This is your answer right here. Okay, we're making a modified half double. Came up with this last night as I was chatting with my crochet friends. Very easy stitch. Okay, Now, very important, I have gone up a hook size. You need lots of drape and stretch to this fabric as you're working it. Okay. This is the colorway Oyster that we're working with this morning. But the way we're going to do this is normally you work your half double into this stitch here, right? Let's do a half double for those that don't know. Into the stitch, we yarn over, go under, pull up our loop. Normally you have 3 loops, pull through all 3, right? This is a yarn over, excuse me, a half double. Yarn over into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through all 3, right? That is your traditional half double crochet. What we're doing is we're giving it this slant right here. And it looks very complicated, but it's not complicated at all, okay? If you can make a half double crochet, you can make this stitch. So, instead of going right into the next stitch, we're going to take a little detour. Shannon, I'm going to publish a video of this on my TikTok, but you can also rewatch this on my YouTube. My handle is Wheeler8Acres. I appreciate that you're at work. I totally get that, my friend. I watch live crocheters as well while I'm at work. But check back on my page. I'm going to extract a clip from this. And yeah, it's like a connected stitch, basically. So you have less holes. Exactly. We're making it kind of more of a solid piece of fabric. Okay, I'm using a 9mm hook this morning, Char. So here we go. Instead of doing my half double into this, I'm yarning over and I'm going to take a little detour. We're going to go under this leg of the stitch we just finished. Okay, then we're going to go into the next stitch here and pull up our loop. So now we have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over. I'm going to pull this loop through all 4 loops. Okay, when we do that is it makes this stitch go kind of to the side. And that's what we're looking to do. And it is what's this? Lisa said you've created a whole new herringbone half double. Have I, Lisa? I really don't know, friends. I was just playing around last night and I thought it looked cool. And Leah was here, Leapin' Llamas, who's pinned the comment there, and JT was here. We were on screen share, and I was just screwing around basically with my crocheting. And I said, guys, what do you think about this? And they're like, oh my God, I love that. It is not a half double crochet. Half double crochet, you work into the stitch. We're incorporating the legs of the stitch before. So the way we do it is we yarn over just like you're going to do a half double. The half double, you would normally come here and work this. But what we're going to do, see the legs of this stitch that we just finished? We're going to bring our hook down. We're going to slide underneath the legs of that stitch. Then we're going to go into the new stitch here, the next stitch, and bring up a loop. And again, I'm bringing this up nice and tall because this needs to have some give to it here, friends. We then yarn over, pull this one underneath all 4. We've got some experts coming in here now. Jersey Devil said, is this the thermal stitch? I've never heard of the thermal stitch, but I suppose it could be. I'll have to research that. Maximum said, I was following something similar, the herringbone stitch. My understanding is the herringbone stitch is worked a little bit different. Lisa said, yes, because a regular half double herring has an extra step that makes it a herringbone half. So yeah, I think this is different, guys, what I'm doing, but it's kind of cool, right? Isn't it looking nice? Here's a little sample swatch I made. This is with a smaller hook. This is a 5-weight yarn that I was doing last night. So here's how you do a half double. Let's do a couple half doubles for those that are asking. So a half double, I yarn over, put my hook under the bars, bring up a loop. Now we have 3. Yarn over, pull through all 3. Again, yarn over, underneath both loops, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, down in, pull up a loop, and pull through all 3. Okay, so these 3 stitches right here are a half double. Can you see the difference of how these are looking over here versus? Yeah, I do the wheat stitch also, and the wheat stitch is different. It's similar. I've been working the wheat stitch a lot, which is probably why I had this kind of in my mind. But that's the difference between the half double, okay? So let's take out these half doubles. Let's show you the modified again. Okay, so here's the stitch I just finished. So before we work into this stitch with our half double, we yarn over, we take this little detour. See the legs of this stitch that's hanging down right here of the one we just made? I'm going to bring my hook down and I'm going to slide my hook underneath that stitch into the next. Then I'm going to pull up my loop. So instead of having 3 loops on our hook like a half double, you can see we've added this 4th stitch here. Now, very important, see how I'm bringing this stitch up tall as I'm making it? You need to make sure that that's not too tight, okay? Then I yarn over, pull through all 4 of these stitches. And when you do that, it makes it lean to the side. Okay, so here we go again. Here's that stitch that is the legs that I keep talking about. So again, yarn over, right down underneath that. Use your thumb to slide your hook through if you need to. Then into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through all 4. You're going into that leg first, then completing that half double makes it appear like a herringbone half. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing, Miss Lisa. So I'm going, see this stitch right here? See this little guy? I'm sliding my hook underneath that before I go into the next stitch. So here we go, yarn over. There he is right there. I just slide my hook underneath, then into the next stitch, pull up a loop. So now we have 4 loops, yarn over and pull through all 4. Maximum, we've given it the name, the Wheeler Woven Stitch. The Wheeler Woven Stitch. WWS. I'm going to make a video, guys, so that you'll have that to reference back. But this is the Wheeler Woven Stitch. Let's see. Lisa said, love it, goes much faster than the usual herringbone half double. So, Lisa, I have to tell you, in my life, I've never made the herringbone half double. I've never made a herringbone stitch. I don't even know how to do it. So, to have all you guys chiming in is very helpful. But hopefully, you've seen something fun and new here today, and you've enjoyed the live. I do have to hop off, friends. I have to get ready to go to work. I need to feed the puppy dogs. I've got to fill the bird feeders. It's been raining out. I need to give those little squirrels and the cardinals some sunflower seeds this morning. And I need to make myself a little breakfast. So, um, anyhow, as I mentioned, this is the Wheeler Woven Stitch. Um, Thank you all for hanging out and visiting this week as we've been on the live. I hope you've all had a fabulous week as we head off into the weekend. Thank you all so much for all of the taps. We're at almost 66,000 likes. Thank you so much for all of the gifts and support this morning. I appreciate each and every one of you. I've seen so many new people hop on. I'm sorry I have not had an opportunity to personally thank you all for the follows. But I do appreciate each and every one of you. We have a fabulous community. If you are new to my channel, my name is April. Okay. And I'll be back on Tuesday. Now, friends, if you are a new follower, make sure you hit that bell and turn on your notifications. There is a possibility that I will be going live on Saturday with some of my friends. Okay. So be sure and hit that for your notifications. I do make live events out ahead of time. And I am live this morning, both on TikTok and on YouTube. So be sure and seek me out over on YouTube. You can watch replays of all of our lives that we do every week. Stay tuned also to my TikTok, as I will surely be publishing a video how to make this stitch, the Wheeler Woven Stitch. Ooh, FedEx is here. Y'all, FedEx is bringing me some yarn. I really got to go now. Have a great day, friends. It's Friday Eve. Enjoy. You've almost made it. We're almost there. Bye for now.